Hi guys, and welcome back to Chaos Head NoAH. Last episode, stuff certainly happened. 200 people died in an earthquake. People got calls from some crosswalk music and had their brains melted or whatever. We saw Remy die because I made one mistake one time. And, then, ISA tried to jump off a building. Yeah. Uh, things are certainly happening. Oh yeah, and the sky turned white as well. Man, and like any theory I can come up with, I just I don't think it's anywhere near sufficient to explain what the heck is going on. Just, my gosh. But, yeah. I'll go ahead and carry on here. May more twisted turns come our way. Oh, whoops. I bolted away from the school as fast as I could, and I ran and ran all the way to the park. Only when I felt like I was about to suffocate did I stop. Still haven't run into real Remy. My lungs were in dire need of oxygen. As I gasped for breath, I took a quick look around the park. There was no one around. There was no one there I was afraid of. Neither Shogun nor Yua were anywhere to be seen. Relieved, I tried to catch my breath. It was almost evening. The skies. The sky! Why do we keep talking about the sky? Not to mention it turned white last time. Like, why do we place such great emphasis on the sky? Is it, like, I feel like this has to go beyond just the God watching thing by this point. It turned white. The sky's blue was slowly turning orange with the twilight. Compared to the insanity at school that felt so unreal, this park was completely quiet, just as it always was. The incident from before had ended as a failed suicide attempt. ISA had then been taken away on an ambulance, but I had no way of knowing what happened after that. And it seemed like for some reason everybody was filled with a kind of bloodlust in that moment. Even Mismi, who's kind of just Mismi. And even Takumi. Which just kind of begs the question, what are they trying to do? Not to mention, we saw in that meeting with Nozoki that they apparently were expecting at least 100 deaths in whatever this plan of theirs was. After going through all that, I gave up on searching for Remy and came here to the park instead. The scene from only a few minutes ago was engraved into my mind. Back then, when ISA's body came crashing down, I'd been convinced that nothing could have saved her. But she had been saved. I didn't know how exactly, but I at least knew she wasn't dead. She'd been breathing. virtually unharmed, too. Under normal circumstances, she would have absolutely died. The thing that saved her was a total miracle. She'd fallen on top of the tender soil of a flower bed. Very pretty. Unfortunately, could not make that the thumbnail last time because I feel like that would raise way too many questions. The other one was a little more ambiguous as to what was going on. Something that was physically impossible. It was physically impossible for Ayase to have fallen on top of a flower bed. Because there hadn't been a flower bed there. Just before Ayase had fallen, the place where she was going to fall had nothing but the gray asphalt of a parking lot. A number of the Swanima teachers parked there. So how had a flower bed just appeared there? Had I done that? It was true that, at the time, I'd been so frightened that I had a delusion about how a flower bed appearing below her could save her. But even then, was it really possible? Was it really possible that the delusion had become reality? You're gonna have to go back and check to see if it's still there. Okay, let's consider it. First, I had a feeling that I might or might not have special powers. Second, there was the time Ayase had split in two, and now I just experienced something similar to that. So, creating a flower bed in an instant, how could I have achieved something that extraordinary? I didn't even have a D-sword. And on top of that, the flower bed had continued to exist even after Ayase had crashed onto it. When the teachers had rushed to check on her in the flower bed, their footprints had been visible. The flowers blooming there, which had appeared to be the same ones as the ones in the courtyard, had been trampled over by the emergency services. When I looked, a number of flowers had either been flattened or had their stems completely bent. And the flower bed might have still been there in that state. A delusion had become reality, and it stayed that way. It hadn't disappeared afterward, which made it different from Ayase's other self. And everyone had accepted the idea that the flower bed being there was only natural. No one even questioned it. Had I seriously done all that?
Oi!
Senna! A sharp voice called for me from behind. Before I even got the chance to turn around, a hand grabbed me by the collar. With no chance to resist, I was shoved violently against the playground equipment. I groaned in pain as my back hit the equipment hard. Hello there. Okay, so...
お前だな。
Neither. Do not pick a delusion until the end of the chapter.
あの花壇を作ったの。
It was her, Senna. She was the one tossing me around. She continued gripping my collar with tremendous strength. It grew hard to breathe. I tried to fight back by squirming and flailing around with my arms, but she refused to let go. Her eyes were filled with... Do I just yawn when I read visual novels or something? Maybe I'm just not breathing right or something. Her eyes were filled with a sharp, murderous light. It sent a shiver down my spine. Thinking I was about to die, I shook my head in desperate denial.
とぼけるな。
I could feel Senna's breath on my cheeks. She was so close, she could rip out my throat with her teeth just like that. Dude, I know she bit a popsicle. Actually, you know what? Somebody bites a popsicle. Yeah, they can probably rip your throat out with their teeth. Why was this girl so violent and terrifying? Save me. Somebody save me.
お前は転生振興会と関係があるのか？
CCDL. The Cosmic Church of the Divine Light. Fictional. I would hope so. A newly founded religion. Inaugurated in 1930. Their public estimate places their number of followers at around 5 million, but the actual number is thought to be closer to 2 million. Well, can't say that surprises me. Its members are characterized by their ardent, forceful proselytization. What does that mean? Proselytization. Convert or attempt to convert someone from one religion, belief, or opinion to another. Which often causes repeated trouble for anyone involved. Kuromochi Yudai, the second generational founder, possesses absolute charisma, and in return, his followers offer absolute reverence. Kuromochi Yudai. The cosmic what?
その力を誰から教わった？
Senna's voice was unusually tense, but I had no idea what she was talking about, so I just kept shaking my head over and over.
あんなのありえない。理想度なしでエラーを現実にするなんて。
Turning an error into reality without a D-sort should be impossible. She called her chain an error before, so could error just be like she diluted that chain being there? But it wasn't literally there. But she's also saying she can turn it into reality.
お前はその力のことを誰に教わったんだ？誰からだ？答えろ！
No one had taught me anything, but if I had to name someone, I can't breathe. You're choking me. I'm gonna pass out. I'm gonna die. I'm done for. Just before I lost consciousness, Senna suddenly let go of me, and I collapsed to the ground. I kept on coughing, struggling desperately to get oxygen in my lungs. What the hell was she doing? Was Senna my enemy after all? Was she another one of Shogun's underlings? If she was, then I had to run away.
本当に転生振興会とは関係ないんだな。
What the hell was the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light? I'd never heard of it. After seeing the confusion plastered all over my face, Senna finally stopped staring at me. She clicked her tongue lightly, then let out a sigh.
悪かった。関係ないならいい。
She mumbled something in an unconcerned tone, then went to leave. Not much of an apology. Guess she wasn't gonna hurt me. Then,
あの、
mustering up all my courage, I called after her. I'd expected her to ignore me, but instead she stopped and turned around. Her expression remained stern, but she looked like she was willing to listen to what I had to say.
力って何なの？
Senna knew something. She'd asked me if I created the flower bed from before. Everyone but me had recognized that flower bed as something that had always been there, but that didn't seem to apply to Senna.
さっきの花壇どうなって？お前が妄想したんだろ？
A delusion? I had, but
妄想は現実にすることが可能だ。本当じゃないものが景色に紛れ込む。つまりエラーを現実として認識させる。でも
objects that aren't real blend into the scenery around us.
視界に映すだけじゃそれって幻でしかないよ。
Illusions were nothing more than that. Illusions. Fake stuff you perceived as real. If that flower bed had just been an illusion, then Ayase shouldn't have survived. The only way Ayase would have been saved was if the flower bed hadn't been an illusion, but entirely real.
世界の仕組みは3つの数字で全て説明できる。0と1、そしてマイナス1。ディソードはそのマイナス1を生み出すためのショートカットになる。だがお前はディソードなしでそれをやった。
There she goes again. More incomprehensible garbage. Wait, but I realized that what Senna was telling me wasn't just some schizo shit she'd come up with. The VR technology patent did exist after all. So that at least wasn't BS. Senna definitely knew things that I didn't.
いいか、これ以上エラーを作るな。それがお前のためだ。それと他にもエラーを見たら教えろ。
Without letting me get even a word in, Senna blasted me with thing after thing, most of which sounded like threats. And then, when she was finally done, she turned her back on me.
目に見えるものだけを信じられることがどんなに幸せか。
And then she drowned. After spitting out one last murmur, this time Senna finally left the park. I know nobody will get that reference. The floor of AH Tokyo General Hospital that housed the psychiatric ward was engulfed in silence. Ever since the earthquake had struck, the emergency room and surgical ward had been faced with a difficult situation. Injured citizens who had lost consciousness due to unexplained symptoms were being carried into the clinic, one after the other. The psychiatric ward, meanwhile, was not nearly as involved in the relief efforts, nor were the outpatient facilities, allowing the latter department to conclude its operations even earlier than usual. Over the last few days, patients suffering from PTSD had come pouring in, but at least for today, the psychiatric ward had finished all of its outpatient appointments. A nurse there, Hazuki Shino, realized that she had been working non-stop ever since her shift began the night before, and that she hardly had even taken a break. This obviously left her feeling quite exhausted and, of course, hungry. The psychiatric ward had recently lost one of its doctors in the New Gen incidents, and the person replacing him had yet to arrive, leaving them constantly understaffed. However, despite the shortage, all that remained for today's work were some minor chores that Hazuki could pass off to the next nurse, allowing her to take some time off. Reassuring herself that she only had to persevere for a little longer, Hazuki slapped her cheeks with both hands, then began to walk through the empty lobby, only to suddenly feel a gaze on her back. Chills ran down the nape of her neck. Goosebumps rose across her skin. She reflexively looked behind her, but all she saw was a silent corridor. Not a soul was there. Whose eyes are those eyes? Somebody's watching you, and it's possibly me, but maybe not. We will see. Like, I could see them going a meta route, but I could also see them not going a meta route. I kind of hope that it's not just me, because I think whatever else it could be would be more interesting. Could also just be the Seinfeld effect, though. And this did come out before, like, metafiction really, like, went mainstream, if I recall. Husky jumped in surprise. She had heard a voice come from an entirely different direction. The origin of the voice was a single man standing in the lobby, which Husky had been convinced was empty. He had called out to her the moment he first saw her. He was a fairly young man and appeared quite virile. His complexion was nearly faultless, and he looked just as, if not more, healthy.
あなたは
ちょっと時間もらっていいすか
I need to murder you, scoop out your brains like I did to Dr. Takashina.
どうもっす
He smiled awkwardly, abruptly grabbed Hazuki's arm, and started walking her from the lobby toward the stairs. Hazuki, still quite bewildered, watched as the man, Suwa Mamoru, took out a black ID badge from his pocket and humbly held it out to her. It was a police badge. Didn't have to grab her arm, man. Stopping at the landing of a staircase, Suwa looked around carefully. He seemed to be very concerned with his surroundings.
それでお話って
Still having quite a bit of work left to do, Husky was feeling slightly restless, something Suwa had seemed to understand implicitly. And then, without any form of introduction, Suwa produced a photo from his pocket.
この少年に見覚えないっすか
Depicted in the photo was the apathetic face of Nishijo Takumi. Hazuki, confident in her ability to recognize faces due to her profession, nodded her head.
西条拓間違いないっすか
ええでも
Husky's hesitation was only natural. Leaking a patient's private information could only spell trouble, even if it was to the police. But this was something Suwa had been aware of prior to speaking with Husky. Suddenly, Suwa's light attitude that he had been displaying up until that moment shifted to a far more serious one, and he began to speak in a low voice.
頼みがあるんすけど西条拓のカルテこっそり見せてもらえないっすか
そんなの無理です。できません。
とある事件に関わる重要なことなんすよ
Now at a complete loss for words, Husky tried to leave, but Suwa circled around her and blocked her path.
困ります。
迷惑はかけないっすだから頼みますよ
Why are you being so pushy? Jeez. What? Actually, why is a guy trying to stop more brutal murders in a city that may have just had 200 people murdered, trying to stop a murder series from happening just by inconveniencing this woman? Okay, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. As a last resort, Suwa got down on his knees.
やめてください。本当に無理なんです。
これ以上犠牲者を出さないためにも
Husky had no idea what she could do to make him give up. Unable to think of any proper way to say no, Husky could do nothing but stammer. He was definitely being very forceful there. I was in a bit of a daze after Sennen left, but I quickly shook myself out of it and dashed all the way back to my base. Luckily, I hadn't been confronted by Shogun or Yua on the way. I think about it, Yua knows where he lives, so I guess the question is, why was she chasing him in that moment, then decided to leave him alone? In the end, I'd come back home without finding Rimi. With all the insanity caused by ISA and the earthquake, school'd probably let everyone go home early. So maybe if I waited a bit, Rimi would show up. In the meantime, though, I just had to suck it up and deal with my own fear. Alone. To distract myself from my growing anxiety, I went to try and gather information on my freshly restored PC. Right as I thought that, the notification light on my phone, which I had set right next to my monitor, started blinking. When I opened it, I saw that I had received a text. I thought it was Rimi trying to contact me, but when I opened it, something crazy happened. Wait, no, that's Naname. Something crazy happened. Apologize to me for my girl voice. I think you can tell from my voice that I am not exactly the most qualified at reading female voices. Something crazy happened at school today. There was a suicide attempt. It was so freaky. I hadn't been that scared in a while. Snipple. I hope she's okay. Were you at school when it all went down, big bro? Oh, and wow, that earthquake was really crazy too. It gave me a really bad headache though. What was that all about? OMG, it's Nanami at tokomo.net.japan. So she kind of enjoyed being part of the spectators, huh? It's not fucked up at all. Naturally, I didn't send a reply. I mean, hey man, just because you deluded a flower bed into existence doesn't mean you actually tried to do anything, so not exactly like you're better. I searched online for information on ISA. Phantasm's official homepage was still down. None of the newspapers had reported on her either. Well, I guess they still had their hands full with the earthquake, so they couldn't really spend time reporting on some random indie singer's suicide attempt. Where things were now, I had no way of figuring out how exactly ISA was doing, so I switched topics. There was way more information on the earthquake than when I had checked earlier. Apparently the death count had risen to 118, and the injured went above 300. Wow, I never thought the fatalities would go beyond 100. The epicenter was Shibuya. It seemed the damage hadn't spread outside of it. It'd been a seismic intensity 5 quake. According to one article, most of the magnetic media within Shibuya had been destroyed. When I thought about how I wasn't the only one to experience such tragedy, it made my frustration erupt all over again. It was a true, undeniable tragedy. My treasured MoA pics and their OK safe data. They would never come back. That aside, I couldn't help but feel that this was no normal earthquake. 118 people dying wasn't normal. Of course, that abnormality had grown into a hot topic of discussion online. Jesus Christ, how are they all such uncaring assholes? You guys think this earthquake was caused by the whose eyes are those eyes guy, too? What the hell? Whose eyes are those eyes for the win? Yeah, 100%. How else would 118 people die in an SI5 earthquake? Like, WTF, LMAO? I tried to think back to what had happened during the earthquake. First, I'd been hit by a tremendous impact. My head felt like it was boiling, exploding even. A sensation I had never experienced before. Getting hit by something that bad, dying from shock wouldn't be all that surprising. Telling myself that I should stick to just the internet, I decided to watch some news on TV as well. My PC had a TV tuner attached to it, so that was why I didn't have nor need an actual TV. Huh. Didn't know that was a thing.
現在までに死者118名、重軽傷者300名以上と非常に多くの犠牲者が出ていることが分かっています。さて、渋谷の駅前と中継がつながったようです。島谷さん、現地の様子はいかがですか
？2005年に同じように震度5の地震が東京であったんですよ。その時はゼロで、なぜ今回は100名以上の被害者が出ているんですか？
被害者の数は震度に比例するわけじゃないんです。そこには様々な要因がありまして。
Just tell us the causes of their deaths.
亡くなった方の死因や病院に運ばれた負傷者の容体については、未だ詳しい情報が入っておりません。
That lady's face is a mask. Her face is a mask.
また、渋谷区を中心に磁気メディアが全壊してしまっていることについて、今日は専門家にお越しいただいております。
地質学産業研究所より林原泰造先生、
林原泰造。
地質調査環境センターより小沢幹人先生にお越しいただきました。
林原さん、今回の地震について磁気メディアに深刻な被害が出た原因というのはどういうところにあるんでしょうか？
まず知っておいていただきたいのは、渋谷区あたりの地下200メートル付近には磁鉄鉱、つまり天然の磁石が多く埋蔵されている地層があるということですね。地層の分類としては火成岩層ですが、私たちはこのエリアを磁鉄鉱の谷、マグネタイトバレーと呼んでいます。地中にある磁石の谷ですね。文字通りかなり大規模な岩脈なんですよ。ここにですね、今回の地震のような大きな刺激が加わったとするならば、その影響で地上に存在する磁生態、主に磁気メディアの持つ記録部に、致命的なダメージを与えてもおかしくはないんです。
何をバカな。
小沢先生は別の意見ですか？
確かに渋谷の地下には巨大なマグネタイトの岩脈があることは事実です。ですが、磁石と呼ぶにはあまりにも微弱なこのマグネタイト群にはですね、地上の磁気モーメントや安定磁場を崩すほどの力はないというのが通説になっています。実際ですね、過去にも震度5の地震は何度も発生しています。過去のそれらの地震では今回のような被害はなかった。なので 原因は別にあるのではないかと考えるのが妥当だと思います。
そうは言うがね、今回の異常な犠牲者数についてはただの地震では片付けられない何かがあるのが事実なわけであり、渋谷にいた人のほとんどが頭痛がしたって訴えていることからも間違いなく自鉄鋼が関係している可能性が。
地場ごときで100人も殺せると主張するおつもりですか？
それではここで CM です。
結局詳しいことは何も分からずか。
What kind of news program cuts off during an argument? That's how you get viewers. Right after the earthquake, there had been a huge white mist floating above Shibuya. It turned the sky completely white, and yet it hadn't even been mentioned on the news. While the information had been fresh, everyone made sure to report on it. But now they were acting like it never happened. Something about that just felt wrong. Whoops. I assume that was a transition I just accidentally closed out of. The off hours to AH Tokyo General Hospital featured an area where ambulances could pull up alongside the building in order to deliver emergency patients. 2 ambulances were currently parked there, and paramedics were carrying those injured during the earthquake into the hospital. A doctor wearing light green surgical scrubs and the middle-aged head nurse accompanying him were loudly directing the paramedics through the process. The area around the off-hours entrance was already lined with patients waiting to receive treatment, the sheer number of which indicating how busy the doctors truly were. There were 2 types of patients getting carried into the hospital. First, the ones suffering from physical trauma. Patients would come with blood flowing from their arms, legs, and foreheads, their faces contorted in pain. While their state made them difficult to look at, their treatment had been relegated to a lower priority. The other type was those who were unconscious despite showing no signs of physical trauma. These patients were prioritized. The number of unconscious people was awfully high among the emergency patients brought in from this particular earthquake. Such a high number had not been observed following the previous major earthquakes. It was an entirely new phenomenon. Moreover, the doctors were unable to explain the reason why so many of them had fallen unconscious. Another ambulance arrived at the hospital, its siren blaring loudly. When the emergency responders disembarked from the ambulance, a doctor asked the patient's condition, and a paramedic immediately responded with, That was all it took. In a normal situation, the doctor would have protested, asked for more information. In such an unprecedented, chaotic situation, one would have expected that just shouting top priority would be answered by a succinct, "You don't say." And yet, surprisingly, both the doctor and the head nurse merely gave a light nod, then proceeded to help unload the stretcher from the ambulance. Is it Remy? Oh, oh, wait, yeah, I'm an idiot. Sorry, I kind of forgot about you jumping off a building there for a moment. The person lying on the stretcher was Kishimoto Ayase. She was unconscious, yet faint moans escaped her lips. Paying no mind to the resentful gazes of the injured patients sitting around the entrance, the doctors and paramedics hurriedly carried the stretcher inside the hospital. Look, man, I've been in a hospital waiting room, and even I Even I, when I see somebody in a lot of pain, still have concern for them. Not, ugh, damn it, why are they ahead and not me? There she is. A girl stood at the hospital's main entrance, observing the situation from a distance. Sakihata Rimi's eyebrows furrowed atop her stern expression. Her teeth sank into her lip. Well, we seem to have Takumi and Rimi in two different places, so maybe I was wrong. Obviously, I was concerned about the earthquake, but Shogun was way more of an issue to me. I couldn't get him out of my head. And speaking of, my headache was more or less gone, but anxiety had already swooped in right on in to replace it, just as did the depression that came with being alone. I still hadn't heard from Rimi. I tried to call her myself, but had gone straight to voicemail. Up until now, Rimi had always come dashing in to rescue me, to tell me everything would be fine. So of all days for her to not do that, why today? Hadn't she told me that she would always stay by my side? I gritted my teeth, and then, as a way to escape my anxiety, I decided to focus entirely on reconfiguring my PC. First things first, I needed to fix the settings on my email software. It had been forever since I'd first set it up, so I couldn't remember how exactly to do it. So the first thing I had to do was find the instruction manual that had been included with the email software provided by my ISP. Despite not putting in much actual physical work, I found myself drenched in sweat. I'd nearly given up out of frustration multiple times through the process. Gotta get yourself a mesh chair. It ended up eating a full hour of my time, half of which was spent trying to find the damn manual, just to recover my email address. Well, now that I had it back, I should check it right away. I must stutter so much. Nanami, why did you send that? I'm a hopeless pair. Be my fuck buddy. Maria. From Shin. Have mind-blowing sex. That's why I bake. You have been gifted an honorary deposit. Chibana. I had a great time last night. Little do we know that that's the one legitimate email. Information. Urgent. Applicants needed. 20 positions open. Nanami. Whose eyes are those eyes? Ruriko. My husband cheated on me. And Kenzo. Ready to fuck a sexy college-age lolly? I could finally hear that voice again. I felt so relieved. All that pain and suffering had been worth it. I had 8 new emails, all of which were spam. Actually, hidden among the spam was an email with a strange subject line and an even stranger sender. Whose eyes are those eyes? I groaned reflexively. What the hell? Was Nanami trying to prank me? If she was, then it was a pretty shitty thing to do. I genuinely wanted to punch her in the face. No, wait a minute. There's no reason for me to get an email from Nanami. She'd never contacted me using my computer's email address before. She'd always just texted me on my phone like she had earlier. And not only that, but I had never even given her my email address. Was it just a coincidence? A fluke? Nanami was a common first name, after all. And the phrase, "whose eyes are those eyes," had become so popular, pretty much everyone was using it. There was nothing strange about it being used as a subject for a spam email. But just to soothe my anxiety, I decided to check the contents.
結構な長文だな。さっきはチャットで話ができて楽しかったよ。ちなみに送信者の名前はダミー。僕の名前は将軍だよ。
What? Is there a reason they keep adding a U at random points? Is it just a typo, or is there an actual reason? Like, with a game like this, you gotta keep possibilities open. I'm sure it's probably just a typo, but keeping that in mind, that you could mean many things. Shogun. Let's... Shogun. No, it couldn't be.
将軍が僕のメアド知ってるはずが。
So Takumi always spells it like that, but recently it's had a U added to it. Wait, what if Shogun had read my mind? If he'd done that, figuring out my email address would be child's play.
嘘でしょ。
What the hell? It was fun chatting with you earlier. Before anything else, though, I should mention the sender name is an alias. My actual name is Shogun. I'm glad Ayase-san's safe. I initially planned to paint her as the next victim of my new gen canvas. But suicide works too. You've outdone yourself, Takumi-kun. You got a new high score. I'm very impressed. You really are something special. But enough about that stuff. Let's talk about Nishijo Nanami-chan. The two of you are siblings, so I'd love to see some juicy drama unfold between you two. Ever since the earthquake hit, Shibuya's been pretty bloodthirsty. Whether we can reach a conclusion so touching, it'll blast all that away in an instant. That's up to you. It's real hard to clear quests unarmed, isn't it? You're a hero, so don't you feel you deserve a legendary sword to match? I know you do, so I hope you're looking forward to what I've got in store for you. This guy, he was insane. Why would he? At 9 p.m. tonight, I want you to come to the roof of Old Front. You're gonna be on TV, so make sure you put on a heroic tunic. Now then, let the quest to rescue Nanami begin. P.S. Before I forget, did you get my present? He was talking about quests and high scores, like this was some sort of game.
僕が勇者なんかじゃない。ナイトハルトじゃない。
He was planning to finally kill me. I couldn't go. There was no way I could go. I wanted to run away. Rimi, I need you to protect me. Why wasn't she answering when I tried to contact her? Maybe she'd been injured in the earthquake. But back when I'd seen Misumi-kun, he didn't mention anything happening to her. I mean, to be fair, he was kinda out of sorts. I picked up my phone and checked if I'd gotten any calls or texts from Rimi.
来てない。
Rimi, where did you... Right as I thought that, something stopped me. It was my texts. At the top of the list, I could see the text Nanami had sent me earlier. Was Nanami okay? I read Shogun's email again from top to bottom. But enough about that stuff. Let's talk about Nishijo Nanami-chan. Now then, let the quest to rescue Nanami begin. What? What was that supposed to mean? Forget that. I should just call Nanami. I opened the address book on my phone. Only 3 numbers were registered there. Rimi's, Nanami's, and the number from my parents' house. Nanami was always nagging me to call her. Every time we saw each other, she'd bug me about it. Well, since she'd asked me so many times, I guess I could throw her a bone. So please, answer. If you don't, I'm never calling you again. I swear to God, if you got injured during the earthquake and aren't answering because of it, I'll never let you hear the end of it. I selected Nanami's number and pressed the call button. I put the phone to my ear. I heard nothing. The ringing tone didn't start immediately. It was normal for my phone to take a second whenever I called with it. But right now, that 1 second of silence felt like an eternity. I was getting increasingly antsy.
早くしてよ。よし、繋がった。
Oh no. Oh no. Huh? What? That sound. What was that sound? I pulled my phone away from my ear. An unfamiliar melody echoed throughout the room. Could it be a ringtone? Neither. Yeah, neither. Okay. Whose phone was that phone? Whose phone was ringing? But with the timing, what else could it be? But whose phone? I shook my head. I had never heard Nanami's ringtone, so there was no proof that the melody I was hearing was it. No proof at all. I was getting scared now. I pressed my phone back to my ear. Nanami still wasn't answering. Please pick up the phone already. Maybe I should call my parents instead. It'd be the fastest way to get a hold of her. Ignoring the mysterious ringtone I'd been hearing for the last few seconds, I hung up the phone. The mysterious ringtone stopped. My room suddenly grew quiet. It wasn't completely exact, but I was still sure of one thing. The song stopped at almost the exact same time. I'd hung up the call.
なんで
I was becoming more and more confused. Not knowing what else to do, I started looking around the room over and over and over again. But no matter how much I looked around, my brain refused to process any of it. I was just making myself dizzy. My mind had gone completely blank. Once again, I tried calling Nanami. Maybe this time the ringtone won't play and Nanami will answer the phone. On my days, those were the faint hopes I clung to. Only for those hopes to be swiftly crushed. Less than 2 seconds after the call started, the happy-go-lucky melody started playing once more. There was no mistaking it. I couldn't avert my eyes from reality anymore. And if it has the Garo Froggy chain...
この部屋にある
Nanami's phone was in this room. Which also means Shogun knows exactly where you are. Not that that's a surprise. But why? Had Nanami forgotten it here? Or... P.S. Before I forget, did you get my present? This wasn't happening. It couldn't be. It didn't matter how much sense it made. It just couldn't be true. I slowly lowered the hand holding my phone. I couldn't even blink. My throat was dry as a desert. Even still, I searched for the source of the sound. This time, I slowly, ever so slowly, examined each and every object scattered throughout the room. I hated myself more than ever for not cleaning my room. If only I was more organized, I could have spotted where it was coming from immediately. Where the hell was it coming from? A box! That better not have, like, one of her severed fingers in it or something. That box. The song was coming from inside of it. It was the size of about 2 eroge cases, a very common unit of measurement. At first I thought it was something I'd bought online, but there was nothing printed on it. There wasn't a shipping label either. It was sealed with duct tape. Had this large box always been here? I don't think ringtones work like that. Had it fallen from the bed during the earthquake?
いや
It couldn't have. I'd never seen it before. If it was something I'd bought online, I would have opened it straight away. If it was something I had sold and was shipping to someone else, I'd have sent it off the moment I sealed it up. For a second, I considered that maybe Nanami had dropped it off, but I couldn't remember her bringing in a cardboard box of this size. Which could only mean, during the hour I'd been at school, someone had entered my base. I have a present for you. I hope it pleases you. My heart was beating out of my chest. In a panic, I went to check the lock on my door. A chill ran down my my spine. Earlier in the day, when I wandered outside my base, I didn't remember locking the door. And I couldn't blame myself. At the time, I'd been suffering from a stabbing headache and I was really dizzy. When I'd come back from school an hour later, I hadn't locked the door then either. Anyone could have easily gotten in. Was it Shogun? Had Shogun really broken in? I looked at the box again. The song was still playing. Nanomi's phone was in there. I nervously lifted the cardboard box. It was heavy. With how heavy it was, there was no way there was just a phone inside. It weighed about the same as 500 milliliters of soda. I was hesitant to open it. I had a very bad feeling about this. Bracing myself for the severed body part.
こんなの開きたくないよ。
There was nothing else I could do. I had to open it. I was too worried about Nanami. She was a total brat, but at the end of the day, she was still my little sister. Nanami's phone was in the box. In other words, someone had taken her phone from her. Now then, let the quest to rescue Nanami begin. That had been what was in Shogun's email. I looked at the clock. It was already past 7:30 p.m. Nanami might be in danger. I had no choice but to open it. My heart refused to stop pounding. Large drops of sweat began trickling down my forehead. With a moan, I wiped the sweat away with the back of my hand, and then I slowly tore off the shoddily applied duct tape.
やだやだやだやだやだやだやだやだやだやだやだやだ
Mumbling that like a prayer, I opened the box. Oh no. Do not take off that aluminum foil. That is a very organic shape. Very organic shape. Inside was a lump of aluminum foil, packed carefully with cushioning material. I peeked fearfully inside the box, but the phone was nowhere to be seen. The song was coming from inside the foil. Sweat got in my eyes, and it stung. Before I knew it, my entire body had gotten soaked in sweat. No, I cannot do this anymore. Why me? Why does it have to be me? I nearly said those tearful complaints aloud. I pleaded with Seira-tan for comfort, but she didn't say anything. A myriad of delusions swirled within my head, so much I felt like it was on the verge of exploding. I couldn't even focus hard enough to have a delusional conversation with Seira-tan. My mind was racing so fast, I couldn't even think straight. And yet, despite the near shutdown of my brain, the happy-go-lucky melody from the phone kept assaulting me relentlessly.
あげるぞ
Here we go. Having made up my mind, I pinched the edges of the aluminum foil with my fingers. Closed my eyes. Held my breath. Okay, that's probably a good idea. and tore off the aluminum foil in one go. I could hear the song even more clearly than before. I was too afraid to open my eyes. I tried as hard as I could to catch my breath, but to no avail. It was fine. Everything was fine. There was nothing to be afraid of. It was just a harmless prank from Nanami. Just wait. Any second now, Nanami was gonna burst in the room with a big smile on her face, yelling, "Surprise! Haha! I got you!" Yeah, I was sure of it. There was no reason to even consider anything else. And she did that, I'd lay into her like never before, then never to talk to her ever again. Go on, Nanami. Prove me right. I had to open my eyes. I couldn't keep staring at the darkness. Not looking at it was only making things worse. All it did was force me to imagine what horrors might be inside. I couldn't handle any more terrifying delusions. And so, I slowly opened my eyes and saw it. Oh, guys! Oh no! Oh no! Not me! Oh no, guys! Oh my gosh! That is horrible. That is horrible. Lying in the foil was a hand. A cleanly severed, slender hand. Grasped in that hand was a phone identical to mine. And wrapped around its wrist was...
へえ、かわいいバングルじゃん。じゃあさ、これナナにちょうだい。ひひ、お兄どう？似合う？
ここからは少し専門的な話になりますが、
君は元医師だろ。患者に説明するように分かりやすく簡潔に話してもらえるとありがたい。
Well, the Nishijos are gonna need some therapy. Assuming Nanami even survives this, jeez. That's to make Nanami like his youngest living victim, jeez.
努力しましょう。さて、人間の脳の中にある何億という脳細胞、それらは細い神経の糸を出し合ってそれぞれに手をつないでいるような格好をしています。しかし実際には各神経の先端にある手と手の間にはごくわずかな隙間が空いているんですよ。 脳細胞に情報の電気信号が送り出されると、その神経の手のひらから極小の物質ドーパミンがボールのように飛び出してきます。
Dopamine, a neurotransmitter found inside the brain. Dopamine is mainly produced by the A9 and A10 nerves found in the brainstem, where it is then released from synapses. Humans learn through various experiences as they go throughout their daily lives. Dopamine is released in large amounts during these activities, regulating emotions in such a way that allows for easier learning. On the other side of the coin, however, there may be symptoms that are thought to be caused by excessive dopamine release. These include hallucinations, delusions, paranoia, obsessive compulsive disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, substance addiction, the inability to quit smoking, etc. Let me see what he said again. Yeah. Yeah, that's generally what neurons look like. They're kind of elongated.
それは反対側の神経の手のひらにキャッチされ、再度情報の電気信号に変わってまた隣の脳細胞に伝わっていく。脳の構造は簡単に言うとその繰り返しです。我が社が開発した第2世代 NoAH2 はこの部分に干渉することで人に疑似的な映像を見せることを可能としました。
ホログラムのようなものか。
あるいは幻覚かな。
幻覚の方が近いでしょう。ですが明確に違う点として、その疑似的映像は確かな存在感があるものとして映るということです。人間の目、視覚というのは実に興味深いものです。視野は単眼の場合、鼻側60度、耳側100度程度、両眼の重複視野は120度で、周辺視野を含めれば180度から200度もの視界が広がっているんです。その一方で、以前ご説明したようなデッドスポットもまた存在する。脳にとって視覚とは最もつながりの深い部位です。脳はそのおよそ 80% を視神経情報の処理のためだけに使っている。
その点については300人委員会も注目しておる。
人間の視覚にはまだまだ謎が多い。世界中で研究テーマとして上がっているものだけでも1000以上に及ぶからね。
アメリカで数年前に発行された行政命令、機密の人体研究に対する保護の強化。
Strengthened protections for human subjects of classified research, yeah.
というのは委員会による圧力ですか？
Signed by Bill Clinton. This.
圧力ではない。これは選定だよ。
300人委員会はどこの馬の骨とも知れん研究者がこの分野に足を踏み入れることを歓迎せん。当然ながらアメリカだけではなく世界各国にも同様の支持は出ている。
我が国は随分自由のようですね。私のような人間を放置しているぐらいですから。
勘違いしてはいかんな。何のために我々がいると思っている。
君はすでに選定済みなんだよ。だからこそ君には何よりも成果が求められている。
300人委員会をも出し抜けるような成果というわけですね。
うかつな口を聞くなと言っておる。
今はまだ我らの真の目的を誰にも悟られてはならない。たとえ委員会に対してもね。
これは失礼。
説明を続けたまえ。
NoAH2が生み出した疑似的映像は 視神経パルスに変換して電磁波として照射します。対象の皮膚や頭蓋骨を貫通して直接ドーパミン受容体、つまり先ほどの説明でいうところの手のひらにキャッチさせるのです。そしてデッドスポットへと最終的に落とし込まれる。特に G レートの高いエリアの人々は空中の映像パルス信号を敏感にキャッチします。混乱した脳はその疑似的映像を現実だと判断することになります。これが人間の視界の中に無から有を作り出すメカニズムです。ノア2を用いれば街中のどこを見ても先生の選挙ポスターだらけなどという芸当も容易というわけです。
Yeah, that's not at all what you plan to use this for, is it?
ただし、あくまで人々のバイオリズムが高い状態であることが条件ですが、
幻覚によって意志を誘導するか。沈黙の兵器とシステムは同じというわけだね。
Silent weapons, devices designed to implement mind control on a global scale. They allow for the automation of society and the enslavement of all humanity except for a few elite. Based on the top secret document Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, discovered in the United States.
条件さえ満たせば対象の見ている世界を自在に書き換えることができる。
それはギガロマニアックスと同等の力ということか。
その通りです。ノア2は機械仕掛けのギガロマニアックスと言ってもいいでしょう。理論値通りに稼働を始めればギガロマニアックスたちと同等、いや近い将来それ以上の能力を再現できるようになります。
だが効果の有効範囲はどうなってる？電磁波は垂れ流しなのかね。
I wonder if the AH in NoAH maybe stands for Arc Heart for some reason. Like N of Arc Heart.
それでは汎用性という点がおろそかになる。我々は無差別な洗脳を望んでおるわけではない。対象は選定できなければ無意味だぞ。
ご心配なく。そのために機能因子を用意してあります。モニターをご覧ください。
なんだこの小汚い連中は。
Got all these normal people and then just this dude right here. The waifu sweater.
我が社ではポーターと呼んでいます。
Oh, oops.
言い換えればマインドコントロールのための部隊といったところでしょうか。
Yeah, that's what Senna came across. Mind control, a technique used to guide people to a predetermined conclusion while providing the illusion that their decisions have been of their own volition. Unlike brainwashing, however, it shows no clear evidence of coercive force. For example, a pedestrian may be stopped on the side of the road by a person calling out to them. "I'm studying palm reading," the person says. If the pedestrian humors them, the palm reader may then invite the pedestrian to join their religion, creating an atmosphere in which it feels like they can't refuse. This and a variety of similar tactics are all forms of mind control.
彼らが背負っているリュックの中にはノア2のパルス波を送受信するためのポートが入っています。ポートは信号を受け取るとリモートで周囲へと放出するわけです。
歩く端末というわけか。それならば有効範囲の制限などないに等しいな。
It seems like the group dive was a result of mind control.
限定的使用も問題ないことになるね。
状況は理解した。貴様は引き続き計画を続行したまえ。
ただし300人委員会に悟られるような言動はくれぐれも慎むよ。
あとは何人犠牲を出そうと構わん。
ご理解いただきありがとうございます。それではポーターとして使える人材を提供していただきたいです。
手配し、
それと引き続き先生方にはメディアのコントロールをお願いいたします。すべては我ら3人の目指す理想のために。
Whoosh!
タッキー。ねえ、タッキー。聞こえてるっしょ？
うん。聞こえてるよ、セイラタン。
あのさ、もうこのゲーム終わりにしようよ。
ゲーム？
ナナミッチはタッキーの大事な妹だってのはわかるけど、きっともう手遅れだよ。
そんなことないよ。
だって腕を切り落とされちゃったらさ、普通出血多量で死んじゃうっしょ。ゲームだったら違うかもだけど。
なんでナナミが。
もうさ、ゲームオーバーなんだよ、きっと。
She is incapable of not sounding happy at all times, is she?
早くゲームをやめないと、もっとたくさん人が死んじゃう。
でもセイラタンだって悪いやつと戦ってるじゃないか。
だって私はアニメだもん。
I forcefully shoved Seira-tan's figure inside the inner pocket of my uniform.
助けなきゃ。僕が。
I had brought Seira-tan as a good luck charm. In a normal situation, I would never get caught dead carrying a figure around, because it could get damaged, obviously. Destroying your precious waifu was the most horrible thing an otaku could do. Right now, I couldn't bring myself to abide by my usual policies. I needed the emotional support above all else. And on top of that, I might not live to see another day anyway. I took one last glance at Seira-tan. Her head was sticking out of my pocket. By doing so, I managed to hold back the tears that were on the verge of flowing out. Suddenly, someone bumped into me from behind, making me stumble. I turned around to see some Dokyun staring at me with an annoyed look. And yet, much to my surprise, he didn't say anything. He simply vanished into the crowd. I looked around. Actually, I suppose it's possible that Rimi could be a delusion that's been made real, and that's why she has autonomy. It is possible that one of these characters could be somebody who is deluded into existing. I was at Scramble Crossing. The crowd was so huge, it was hard to believe it was 9 p.m. on a weekday. At Not to mention the very same day an earthquake had killed 100 people. I felt like I was suffocating waiting for the pedestrian signal. People were surrounding me from every direction. For some reason I wasn't aware of, the media was flooding in too. People with huge TV cameras were forcing themselves onto the road, halting traffic. Flashes coming from them every couple of seconds nearly blinded me. A group of people who were likely reporters were giving passionate speeches to their respective cameras. A few policemen were attempting to shoo away the mass media and pedestrians standing in the road, but gaining back control of the situation seemed pretty much impossible. It was like a paradise for people without cars. Were they holding some kind of event? Why this late? Why today? Considering 100 people had died, that was definitely in bad taste. Didn't they have any kind of respect? If there was an event, it was crazy that even the mass media was joining in on the insanity. Japan was over. Not that bad to me.
助けなきゃ。僕が助けなきゃ。
The place Shogun had told me to go was O-Front, a building which sat right in front of Scramble Crossing, the one with the Tatsuya and Star Breaks located inside it. I really didn't want to come alone, but I couldn't get in touch with Rini no matter how many times I tried. And the police were probably still mistaking me for the new gen culprit, so I couldn't go to them. But the time Shogun had set was getting closer and closer. I was too worried about Nanami to stay home, so I had no choice but to go there while holding on to Seira-tan. I carved a path through the sea of people, and somehow managed to get inside O-Front. Unfortunately for me, it was pretty crowded inside too, but I didn't even have the strength to be upset about it. The only thing on my mind were prayers for Nanami's safety. I took the escalator that led to the upper floors. Using one of the windows inside the Star Bricks, I was able to look down towards Scramble Crossing. Now that I was looking at it from above, it was even more crowded than I thought. And they weren't just standing there either. Some were waving, some were jumping, and some were doing both. Countless dark heads bobbed up and down. It was even more blinding now than when I was down there. It felt like all of the lights were pointed at me. With each new floor the escalator brought me to, my heartbeat got faster and faster. I took out my phone to check the time. There was 1 minute left before 9 p.m., the time he'd set. The thought of Shogun killing Nanami out of anger terrified me so much that I just started sprinting up the steps of the escalator, pushing aside anyone in my way. I changed to an elevator to access the top floor. I didn't know how to get on the rooftop after that, but as I wandered around, I spotted an emergency staircase. No one stopped me as I shot through it, and I successfully made my way to the rooftop. A strong wind was blowing. Considering it was the end of October, it was weirdly lukewarm outside. It took a minute, but I soon realized it wasn't a natural breeze, but one blown by the outdoor AC unit. I buttoned the front button of my uniform so that Seira-tan wouldn't fall out.
ありがとう、ボケナス。
どういたしまして。
I felt a slight sense of relief when I heard Seira-tan's voice in my head. Seira-tan was with me, so there was nothing to be afraid of. I desperately tried to convince myself of that. Before that moment, I had yet to realize how dark it was. The only source of light was from the back of the lit O-Front sign. Ironically, The neon lights from the surrounding buildings were too bright for me to see anything. If someone was hiding in the shadows, I would have been incapable of seeing them.
遅かったね。
That is not Shogun. My heartbeat, which had started to finally calm down, skyrocketed once again after hearing those words break the silence. I looked all around me, but I was unable to figure out which direction the voice had come from. I'm starting to wonder if this is like somebody impersonating Shogun, and that's why there's an extra U in the name. And then I heard a sound, a squeaking sound that I'd heard several times before. This time, I deliberately focused my gaze into the rampant darkness. There, I spotted the glow, the backlit outline of a wheelchair's wheels.
Huh?
Shogun.
ようこそ、匠くん。
He was talking to me like he knew me, like we were friends. It felt so wrong. Goosebumps sprang up on my skin. He's not talking like he'd talked before. I didn't want to talk to him. I was too scared. I want to get out of there as soon as possible.
じゃあ逃げちゃおうよ。このままじゃタッキー殺されちゃう。
Nanami was...
君はすごく勇気のある人だ。ちゃんと一人で来てくれるとは。ありがとう。と言っておくよ。
Wait a minute. Something was off about him. He was different from before. Yeah, his voice. Something was off about his voice.
その声。
声なんて、ただの空気の振動でしかないよ。
どう聞こえるか、その場の条件によって変わる。
そうだろ？
What was going on? His voice kept changing. Was he using some kind of voice changer? Did he want to hide who he was by disguising his voice? Why now then? Why hadn't he before? That aside though, I wasn't following what he was saying.
タッキーを混乱させようとしてるんさ。油断しちゃダメ。誰の言葉も信じちゃダメ。
You're right. You're completely right, Seira-tan. Seira-tan always spoke nothing but the truth. I tightly squeezed Seira-tan's body through my clothes.
ななみはどこ？
I felt like my heart was about to burst from fear. Even so, I desperately forced out my voice. I thought stuff like this only happened in TV and video games.
ななみはもう死んだの？
ダウト。だって手首ちょん切られちゃったんだよ。もし生きてるにしても、もうすぐ出血多量で死んじゃうのは変わんないよ。
Tears began to flow. Nanami's sulking face appeared in my mind. Honestly, she was a brat. A really annoying one. And yet, despite that, I was so sad. Sad enough for tears to flow.
ななみは僕の妹なんだ。僕の大切な。なんで殺したんだ。ひどいよ。
死んだと思う。もしかしたら君の上に送ったあの手首は別人のものかもしれないよ。え？バングルと携帯はナナミちゃんのものだとしても、手首そのものは別人のものかもしれないっていうこと。
was alive?
信じちゃダメだってば。
君が見事クエストをクリアしたらナナミちゃんは返すよ。生きているナナミちゃんをね。
Quest. Shogun had used that word again. Did he want me to think of this like a game? But the real me wasn't a hero. He wasn't anything like one.
でももしクリアできなかった場合、ナナミちゃんは帰ってこない。
Suddenly, Shogun's voice became cold as ice. Getting scared of some old guy like this was pathetic, but this man wasn't normal. This man was the new gen culprit.
だから僕を失望させないようやり遂げてほしい。君ならできるよ。
なんで僕なの？僕じゃなくても僕なんかじゃなくてもいいじゃないか。
君でなくちゃ
だからなんで？
君は選ばれた人間だから。
I was the chosen one.
勘違いしちゃダメだよ、タッキー。あいつの言う選ばれたってのは次の犠牲者として選ばれたって意味なんだから。
The tragic end of all the new gen victims flashed through my mind, sending shivers down my spine.
君は今日の昼間のことをもちろん覚えているよね。
昼間？
学校で君は岸本綾瀬を助けた。
Shogun had also mentioned Ayase's suicide attempt in the email. He must have been observing the whole debacle from somewhere. Or maybe he'd been mind controlling Ayase. Maybe he was the reason she tried to kill herself. I suppose it's also possible that the way he appeared in Takumi's delusion isn't how he actually... Well, I mean, probably is the case, but yeah. May not be how he actually looks. So he could be using the voice changer to hide his actual identity. Because he's somebody we already know. Shogun knew about my power. Back at school, no one had even mentioned the existence of the flower bed. The only one that had was Senna. That she'd gone to accuse me. And she'd gone on to accuse me.
お前が妄想したんだろ。
タッキー、将軍の言うことは全力で否定して。
Right. Maybe the entire reason why Shogun was following me around, why he was trying to kill me, was because I had powers. If I claimed that I didn't have any powers, maybe he'd let me off the hook.
僕にはそんな力ない。
力って何のこと？僕はそんな言葉は一言も使っていないんだ。
タッキーには力なんかないよ。ただの妹なんだろ。タッキーにヒーローの素質なんてないさ。私にハーハーしてるだけの無害の引きこもり予備軍。そうっしょ？
You are the worst waifu ever. The idea that I had actual real-life powers was nothing more than chuny bullshit and dreamed up. I'd almost been convinced by what Senna and Ayase had told me. But those two were raging mental cases. They weren't right in the head. I wouldn't be much better if I actually just believed them without a second thought. Even Rimi had said it was delusional.
詳しく説明してくれない？
あの花壇のこととか。
僕がやったっていう証拠はあるの？花壇を何もないところから出現させるなんて、そんなの僕には無理。
You just dug a foot of your own grave.
花壇が何もないところから出現したんだ。他の人は誰もが最初からそこに花壇があったって話だ。
Everyone I spoke to.
君だけは花壇は最初はそこになかったってそう認識しているわけだ。
Oh, I dug my grave even deeper. What kind of monster was this guy? When he mentioned that he'd talked to everyone, do you mean that he'd basically gone to my school and talked to the people there?
僕が力なんてない。自分でも一体どうやったのか。
でも使えた。君が妄想したことが現実になった。
惑わされないで。
Another thing that's kind of thrown me for a loop here is that this Shogun kind of seems like, well, from the email he wrote, it's like, yeah, this guy's homicidal, but like, the guy Takumi talked to in his delusion at Scarlet Crossing seemed like he was trying to stop these events. Yeah, it could be anything. Could just be me reading too much into stuff. Could be this is all a trick. Who knows? Well, I mean, I assume the people watching this know because you're watching to see my reactions, but still.
Taki, 本当に力なんてあると思う?
Get out of here with your stupid triangle mouth and pointy tits.
そんなのアニメの世界じゃん。タッキーがいるのは現実なんだよ。
And your fake hair, I know it's a wig.
ただのことも、アヤセッチが2人に分裂したことも、それらが現実だったって証明できる?
Rimi's hair is better than yours.
無理っしょ? 分裂したアヤセッチの体に触った? ただの幻かも。そもそもタッキーはあの時警察とかユアッチに追われて動転してたし。
What about the flower bed?
同じだよ。花壇は最初からそこにあった。タッキーはリミッチを探してあそこへ行った時、頭が痛くてフラフラしてた。アヤセッチが落ちるまでにはっきりとそこに花壇があることを確認した?
The gaslight gatekeep girl boss was inside your mind all along.
みんな誰一人として花壇が出現したことを疑問に思ってないってことはさ、逆に言えば最初からそこにあったから疑問に思わないってことっしょ? タッキーが間違えただけなんだよ。将軍の言葉に惑わされちゃダメ。
花壇は最初からそこにあった。
I repeated what Seira-tan had said.
最初はそこにはなかったって思い込んでたけど、記憶違いだった。僕の脳内での妄想だよ。だってみんなあそこには花壇があったって言ってるんでしょ。力とかそういうわけのわからないものじゃなくて、ただの思い込みだったんだ。
いいや、君には力がある。そうだろ？
死にたくない。
そうだろ？
わからない。殺さないで。
君は自分の天才的な力についてもっと自覚するべきだよ。 その潜在能力はすごすぎる。君なら世界を変えることだってできるんだ。
I wanted to go home. I wanted to hold up inside my base and play ESL forever. Glued to a chair for eternity like a disabled person. Weird company to think that in. I wanted to spend my days grinning over Seira-tan's figure and marathoning Bloodtune on loop. That was all I wished for.
タッキー、早く逃げて。私がずっと一緒にいてあげる。私だけがタッキーの味方なの。だから帰ろう。三次元とのつながりなんて断ち切って楽しいことだけして生きよう。
さて、前置きはこれぐらいにして、そろそろクエストを始めよう。まずは下のスクランブル交差点がよく見えるところまで行ってほしい。
逃げなきゃ。このままじゃ本当に殺されちゃうよ。
聞こえなかった？スクランブル交差点を見下ろせるところへ移動するんだ。
His tone was soft, yet his voice was unbelievably cold. His voice was so sharp, any will I had left to defy him was sapped away.
何を？
My legs were shaking, and they refused to move. I wrapped my arms around myself. I'd even lost the ability to discern whether I should listen to his order or not.
僕の言うことが聞けない？従ってもらわないと、ナナミちゃんの命は保証できないよ。
どうせもう死んじゃってるよ。タッキーが今から頑張ったってただの無駄死にだよ。
ナナミの声聞かせて。
I managed to squeeze that out. My voice small as could be. However, Shogun rejected my request in an instant.
その必要はないよ。君はもう少し今の状況を考えた方がいい。
I didn't want to think about Nanami's death. I didn't want to imagine her dying. I was too afraid of that. If I imagined it, it would become real. In the end, I relented. I started walking to a spot where I could look down at Scramble Crossing, like Shogun had ordered me to. I could barely see where I was going. If I wasn't careful, I could easily trip and fall. On the side of the rooftop facing Scramble Crossing, a transparent acrylic plate protruded out and up like a wall. It was about 3 stories high. As I approached the wall, I could hear the tumult of the crossing below. A single woman's voice caught my ear. It seemed like it was coming from the Jumbotron mounted on a neighboring building.
アクリル板の壁に一箇所だけ壊れて穴が開いている部分があるだろう。
I wiped away the cold sweat on my forehead, and then, moving only my eyes, I looked toward the wall. Just as Shogun had said, there was a hole where a single person could pass through. It had an unnatural shape to it, like it had been smashed open. It had clearly been destroyed by human hands. Of course, there was nothing beyond the hole, only sheer 8-story drop leading straight down to the concrete below.
そこから顔を出して下にいるギャラリーに挨拶してあげて。
And he just said,
もう一度言おうか。その穴から身を乗り出して下にいる人たちに手を振ってあげてほしい。
He couldn't mean.
ほら、あいつタッキーを殺す気なんだって。
I gulped. Was this how he'd gotten the 5 people to jump off? It really was exactly as Seira-tan had said. There was no way out of it. I was going to die. He was going to make me jump down from here and die.
そんなの嫌だ。
拒否すればナナミちゃんは死ぬよ。
従えばタッキーは死んじゃうよ。
What the hell was I supposed to do? I tried to figure out what the best course of action was, and the only things circling my mind were the most negative delusions possible. I was unable to think straight. Someone save me.
鬼のバーカ。
I could hear Nanami's voice echoing within my panic-stricken ears.
ヒヒバーカ。
Memories of Nanami smiling happily resurfaced in my mind. She looked so carefree. It was all my fault. Nanami had nothing to do with any of this. But because of me, she got kidnapped by Shogun, and then he cut off her hand. I'm sorry, Nanami. I'm so sorry. I wiped away my tears. But that didn't stop them. I wiped once again. Then, with my vision still blurry, I slowly approached the smashed hole. And then, more afraid than I'd ever been before, I'd looked down. Suddenly, a huge cheer, akin to the rumbling of the very earth itself, came from the people below. A large crowd was gathered in front of the station. The media was there too. They were all there for an event that was about to unfold. Suddenly, a blinding light hit me. I squinted reflexively and looked away. Then, when my eyes landed upon the Jumbotron at the closest building, what I saw was unmistakably
They're cheering.
me. Huh? Me? On the Jumbotron was my own face. My own face, covered in tears, and with my mouth hanging half open like an idiot. My back was hunched too. For a split second, I thought I was hallucinating. A chill ran through me, as I thought that someone was secretly recording me somewhere. I then considered if what was being projected there was actually images taken from my thoughts by Shogun. But after exhausting every last possible option, I realized it had to be a live feed of me. Right at this very moment, at this very place. And the video playing on the Jumbotron even had a news ticker featuring sensational taglines.
Live from the Shibuya Station Plaza, the amazing Esper Boy finally makes his debut.
The ticker commentating the situation was situated along the bottom of the screen.
The amazing Esper Boy, endorsed by the sidekick of the century, Yuri Brightman, appears. Don't miss this one. Will he divine the new gen perpetrator's true identity?
After reading it, I finally understood. I finally understood what the media and spectators on the scramble crossing below were looking at. It was me. Don't look at me.
Absolutely saving here.
Okay, so neither again. What? Why were they fixated on me? Esper Boy? What the hell was that all about? Did any of them have any idea what had happened today? We got hit by a damn earthquake. Seismic intensity 5.1. Over 100 fucking people had died. So why were each and every one of them? Why were they waiting there just to see an otaku freak like me make an ass by himself? Those eyes! Ah, those eyes! It sounded like fans cheering from the bleachers at a soccer game. Or maybe a volleyball game. The entirety of the Dokuns who had gathered in Scramble Crossing all began chanting in unison. Maybe this was a planned part of the event. Or maybe Shogun had mind-controlled them into doing it. They all followed the same rhythm as they raised their hands overhead and shouted the same words. They were all insane. I was horrified. The chant wasn't stopping. In the midst of their chant, I could hear the high-pitched voices of female Dokuns. As I listened closely, I noticed the one thing they all had in common. They were making fun of me. To them, they were just having fun and laughing to their heart's content. Everything was fine, as long as they were having fun. A festival dedicated to my sacrifice. A true shit show. All I wanted to do was join in. Make fun of myself the way everyone else was. Every last one of them was a Dokyu. Nobody would be coming to my rescue. Everyone who'd come here wished for my death. That psychology was gonna kill me. Not of hatred or fury, but simply because that was what everyone else wanted to see.
やだ、やだ、やだ、やだ。怖い。
I was scared. This close to pissing myself. I had never felt so close to death before. It felt like my consciousness was drifting away. And now, I was like a child throwing a tantrum. I started to cry. I hoped that by doing so, Shogun would let me go. I hoped that by doing so, the crowd below would maybe feel sympathy for me and come save me. I hoped that by doing so, the police would realize I wasn't the culprit, just an innocent otaku freak, and then they would come save me. I hoped that by doing so, my parents who would be watching TV at home would come and take my place. I hoped that by doing so, Rimi maybe would come rushing in to save me. I hoped that by doing so, I would suddenly wake up and realize it was all a dream. With this myriad of hopes in my mind, I shook my head desperately, and then I cried out my soul wish. I don't want to die. And yet...
その場から一歩でも下がれば、ナナミちゃんは死ぬからね。
Shogun's tone hadn't changed at all from before.
君はもう舞台に上がってしまったんだ。覚醒するには最高のステージだとは思わないか。そこに集まっている人たちも君に期待しているんだよ。もしそれを裏切れば、ボートと化して君に襲いかかってくるかもしれない。
When he said that, I froze, unable to take a step back nor look behind me.
気にすんな。ただの脅し文句だよ。 タッキー、ナナミッチは死んじゃったんだよ。今ここで逃げ出してもタッキーは悪くないってば。
Even if that was true,
そこから見える景色に集中してほしい。
Shogun's voice was very calm, which somehow made him all the more intimidating. I couldn't even find it in me to say anything back.
君にここでしてもらうことは一つだけ。
飛び降りるなんてできない。死んじゃう。
誰もそんなことは言っていないよ。
Was I wrong? Did that mean I didn't have to die?
君にはそこから一歩も動かずに。
Does he want him to make everybody disappear?
理想度を見つけてもらう。
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, looks like there's a sword right next to that banner. Probably not, but still. Find my D sword? How? I've been searching for it as hard as I could for a long time, but I'd never even gotten close. It was completely absurd to think I could suddenly find it here just because he'd ordered me to.
理想度はいわば妄想の剣。それだけ言えばわかるだろう。
騙されちゃダメだよタッキー。理想度なんて実在しないって。妄想が実際にあるわけないっしょ。
見つかるわけないよ。
君はこれまでに剣を持った人間と何度か接触した。そうだね。その人物から聞いているはず。理想度をどうやって手に入れたのかよく思い出して。
この剣永遠に握る。この剣招きを収束させた。この剣超越した場所に干渉するための異空間のような同一次元上にあるもう一つの可能性。あれは妄想。言い方にあまり意味はない。唯一確かにこの剣はその領域に存在していると。いつの間にかそこに気づかなかったわ最初。でもちょっとだけ見方を変えた。分かった。もしかして匠にはもう見えているのか。見ているだけ。世界を疑え。仕組みを知る。お前の見ている景色は本物か。妄想は現実にすることが可能だ。本当じゃないものが景色に紛れ込む。つまりエラーを現実として認識させる。
そうだよ。すでに多くのヒントが提示されているよね。君にはもう見えているはず。君の眼下に広がっているその景色の中に。
Is that seriously the sword? Oh, I tried clicking on it right away to see if that would do anything, but no. Shogun was hiding a D sword somewhere in the scenery I was looking at. And I just had to find it.
見つけたら許してくれるの。
見つけるだけじゃクエストクリアにはならない。実際に剣を手に入れるの。その場から一歩も動いちゃならないっていうルールを破らないようにしている。
There's no way I could do that. If I couldn't move from here, how was I supposed to grasp the fucking sword? What did he even want me to do?
だからあいつは無理難題を突きつけておいて結局タッキーを殺したいだけなんだって。
それができないならナナミちゃんの命を。
逃げようタッキー、お家に帰ろう。
He just said that if I move one step from here, Nanami will die.
だからナナミっちはどうせ助からないってば。
You said that I could save her.
あいつの言葉を信じるの？嘘ついてるかもしれないよ。
I strained my eyes. The bright lights from below made it hard to see much of the scenery at all. The farther away it was, the harder it was to see. I'm staring at it right now. I was trying as hard as I could to look around, but the scenery I could see from here wasn't all that vast. Most of it was hidden behind buildings. I had to find my sword.
無理だよ。
What was I supposed to do? I thought about what Ayase and Seira had said once more.
でもちょっとだけ見方を変えたら分かった。
Yes, yes, I spotted the sword. I spotted the sword.
本当じゃないものは景色に紛れ込む。
And when I thought about that, for some reason, I recalled the pattern of the ceiling in my parents' house. Back when I was a kid, it looks like an eye. I remember having random thoughts about it before I'd gone to sleep. To me, the grain of wood on the ceiling had looked somewhat like a face. And once I'd seen it that way, I could no longer see it as anything else. Pareidolia, a type of optical illusion in which the shape of a stain on the wall looks like a human face, the shape of a cloud in the sky looks like an animal, or other similar phenomena. A large majority of spirit photography is simply pareidolia. Find something that looks like a sword. She was right. This didn't really compare to wood patterns, did it? Shogun murmured, his voice detached as ever.
剣が見えたならそこから切り取る。君にはそれができる。
はーい、意味不明。そいつは適当言ってるだけだよ。
妄想は現実にすることが可能だ。
Just like the flower bed. Just like when Ayase had divided herself in two. But the last time I tried to materialize a real D-sword, I tried using a delusion on the fake one, but it didn't work. I shook my head once more and scanned the scenery visible to me from here. It's right there. It's right there. I saw a sword. Yeah, the guide tells me that when 2 doors appear, save my game immediately. Which I assume means that this is a major diverging point. So, I mean, I see the sword. I want to see... I want the sword. I saw the sword. Give me the sword. I distinctly saw a sword. Yes, I see a sword. If I move from here, I can take it. Just keep... I'm just gonna keep saying yes.
君には失望したよ。
What? I felt a strong push on my back. Before I could even notice, someone had moved up right behind me. I hadn't felt any presence. It couldn't have been Shogun. I hadn't heard the creaking sound of a wheelchair. Then who? The nightscape of Shibuya Station spun around and around. I fell to the earth. I felt the wind rushing over me. The ground was closing in. I could hear screams, or rather cheers, all around me. Is this it? Is this how it ends? Is this how I die? Oh God. No! Not like this, not like this, not like this, not like this. Not like this, not like this, not like this, not like... Bad end. Yep. Maybe I have to say yes, yes, no. Oops. Wrong save. Yes, I see a sword. I see it. It's right there. It's right there. I distinctly saw a sword. Yes. If I move from here, I can take it. No, because it is on the building. I guess that was the correct choice. I can see the sword from other places than here. I don't know what that means. Given I've only just noticed this sword, I'm gonna say no, but I think that's probably gonna kill me. It's not actually a sword. No, it is a sword. Give me the sword. Oh, oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, yeah. Yes. I distinctly saw a sword. Yes. If I move from here, I can take it. No. I can see the sword from other places than here. No. It's not actually a sword. Yes. I'd seen it. Yes. Yes. Within the night landscape blurred by my teary eyes, and amid the scenery in which light was warped by my welling tears, I'd found a spot that looked just like a sword. Just like what Ayase had said. I hadn't noticed it at first, but when I'd ever slightly altered my perspective, it was there before I knew it. Even if it had just been a coincidence, I was more than happy with it. The more I thought of it as a sword, the more defined it became, and over time, it was becoming more and more real. It was slowly turning into a definite part of the scenery. And eventually, even its contours became clearly distinguishable.
見つけたんだね。
Likely having noticed my change in demeanor, Shogun immediately spoke to me.
では手を伸ばしてその剣を切り取ってほしい。
What do you mean by it's not actually a sword? That is a sword. It is indeed a sword. I saw the sword.
深く考えなくていいんだ。君にならできる。
できるわけないじゃん。
I am going to chuck this figurine from the top of this building and it will split someone's skull open.
ダメ、タッキー。そんなことしたら下に落ちちゃう。落ちたら死んじゃうよ。
I looked down. I saw the crowd filled with countless people. The ambulance still had yet to arrive. Just like back at noon, the response time was far, far too slow. Not that it was surprising. That was just how damaging the earthquake this morning had truly been.
切り取るなんてできないよ。
固定観念にとらわれたらダメだ。最初からできるわけがないと思っていたら何もできない。常識を捨て去ってあるがままを見ればいいんだ。君には力がある。世界はその力に応えてくれる。あの花壇みたいにね。
Could I really do that? If I just reached out, would that sword become mine? If so, then I should at least give it a try. Ayase had said that my D-sword would bring me salvation. Maybe those words were referring to exactly what was happening now. I would grasp the sword, complete the quest, bring Nanami home safe and sound, and have Shogun lead me forever. And then I would return to my peaceful life that I had been living up until now.
そんなに都合よくいくと思う？
Silence, pink-haired thought.
将軍があっさりタッキーを見逃すって？
Be gone.
だって相手は10人も殺した連続
Shut up.
殺人鬼なんだよ。
Even Shogun wouldn't make me do the impossible. I could do it. He wouldn't tell me to do it if I wasn't capable of it.
あいつはタッキーを殺したいだけ。
She saw it.
忘れたの？集団ダイブの映像。
Be gone.
将軍は5人の男女を一回も触れることなく転落死させたんだよ。
I'm sorry, Seira-tan, but I'm already reaching for my salvation. The crowd below started rumbling. My every move was being monitored by the thousands of people packed in front of the station. Does he want, like, the entire world to see Takumi get a D-sword or something? It's also being watched by tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people all over Japan watching live on TV. I started feeling nauseous. The extreme pressure imposed by such a large number of people made my heart feel like it could explode at any second. Just forget about them. If I stayed focused on them, I'd be too nervous to even lift a finger. I needed to focus only on the sword. Being as careful to maintain my footing as possible, I reached my hand out. I tried to aim directly at the sword, letting my intuition do the rest. I felt nothing. The wind rushed toward me relentlessly. On top of that, the direction it was coming from was inconsistent. One second it was blowing at me from the front, the next it pushed me from the side. I clung to the acrylic plate in an attempt to support myself, but it was too slippery to bring me anything more than emotional support. Gotta fly! If I let my guard down even slightly, I'd get blown off. Even so, I was still trying desperately to grab the sword. But no matter how hard I tried, I didn't succeed.
できるわけないよ。だってあれは本当の剣じゃないんだよ。
Tears swelled up once more. My vision blurred. What had once appeared to be an object similar to a sword began to lose its shape. I quickly wiped away my tears. I had the feeling that once I lost sight of it, it wouldn't appear ever again.
それならもっと手を伸ばせばいい。
Fuck you! You don't know how this feels. I bit my lip to hold back the tears. Leaned forward more than I ever had before, and fished around in the open air with my hand. But I still couldn't grasp the sword. If I fell from here... Sorry, there was a bug. Oh my gosh! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! Leave me alone, insect! Okay. I looked down once again. I was higher than I thought it was. I felt dizzy, so I pulled back and clung to the acrylic plate once more.
どうしたの？剣を早く手に入れて。でないといつまで経ってもナミちゃんは戻ってこないの。
I shouldn't have looked down. I couldn't stop shaking. I thought I was going to slip because of it. I was so unbelievably afraid.
できないよ。許して。
君はあまり僕を舐めない方がいい。君のわがままに付き合うつもりはない。理想度を手に入れる。それができないなら君の妹は死ぬ。君も死ねばいい。ただそれだ。
God, I don't want to die.
死にたくない。
I had no choice but to try again. I leaned out through the hole and extended my arm. I could still see the sword over there. I tried again and again, but of course, nothing happened. It felt like I could reach it, but for some reason, I just couldn't do it. I leaned out even farther. I stretched my hand out as far as I could, reaching out with my entire body to try and grasp the sword. I even straightened out my fingertips. And then, I slowly closed my hand. But just like every time before it, I felt nothing.
手が届かないよ。
It was impossible. Just like Seira-tan had told me it was. There had never been a way for me to grab that translucent sword. Perspective had made it look normal size. But when I thought about it, I realized how enormous it actually was. It wasn't a size a human could realistically carry.
その剣をつかめばクエストクリアなの。
でもじゃあ届かない。
ナナミちゃんを助けなくていいの。
助けて。もう許して。死にたくないんだよ。
昼間のことを思い出すんだ。君の力があればそこから落ちたとしてもまた花壇を出現させればいい。君は 落ちても死なない。
自信ある？
Then, Seira-tan's snarky whisper reached my ear. Am I sure I can do it? Do what?
タッキーがここから落ちて下の地面に激突するまでほんの3秒もないよ。その間に自分の意志でまた花壇を出現させる。タッキーがそんなすごいことできる？今まで一度も自分で意識してその力とかってのを使ったことないっしょ？
And now, positive. That was two. Even if I did have powers, I had no idea how to use them.
ねえ、逃げよう。タッキーはよくやったよ。でもこれ以上は無理。死にたくないっしょ？
Nanami.
タッキーはよくやったよ。妹を亡くした悲劇の兄として今後もやっていけるって。
Die. Die. Worst girl. You're probably the most annoying character in your anime. The tragic big brother.
PTSD って言えば何もかも許されるっしょ。正々堂々と引きこもれるんだよ。あ、もしかしたらさ、どっかの偽善者が同情してタッキーを養ってくれるかもしんないね。ブログに適当なこと書けば出版社に目をつけられてベストセラーになっちゃうかも。日本中が泣いたとか白々しいキャッチコピーがつけられて、それに載せられたバカでゆとりな人たちからの感動した、共感したっていう絶賛の嵐。
I only just realized, but she has, like, multiple different eyes on this design.
それで印税もガッポガッポ。半年後に映画が決定っしょ。すごいよ。ナナミッチをここで見殺しにするだけでタッキーにはバラ色の人生が待ってるんさ。さあ、どっちを選ぶ？タッキーがここで頑張ってでも死んで全てが無になるか、バラ色の人生か。
死にたくない。痛いのは嫌だ。死ぬのは嫌だ。消えるのは嫌だ。ナナミがどうなろうと僕は痛くも痒くもない。
I muttered all of that to myself. That was my way of trying to make it sound convincing. The one I should trust. It wasn't Shogun. It was Seira-tan.
あの剣に見えるだけで剣じゃない。ただの光の反射とか目の錯覚だ。
そうだよ。さあ帰ろう。帰ったらさ、私のパンツ見ながらいっぱいエッチなこと想像していいから。
僕帰る。帰ってセーラタンにハーファーするよ。
嬉しいな。タッキーのためにエッチなポーズたくさんしてあげるね。
I slowly withdrew my outstretched hand. That alone made me feel much more at ease. I took Seira-tan out of my chest pocket and gazed at her smile. As long as I had her forgiveness, I didn't need anything else. I sniffled, sucking up the snot that had been dripping from my nose. I then turned around and started walking toward Shogun.
誰が動いていいと許可した？クエストはまだクリアしていないぞ。
僕は 勇者なんかじゃない。妹一人救えないようなヘタレな妹だよ。僕に期待しないで。
I chose what the guide told me to. I did what it told me to.
僕を見ないで。僕をそっとしておいて。
ではナナミちゃんは殺すことにするよ。
CoZ、もう死んでる。
She was already dead. Nanami had been brutally murdered by Shogun. Everyone would report on it starting tomorrow, treating it as the sixth new gen incident. It saddened me, but there was nothing I could do about it. I heard the sound of dripping water. No, it wasn't water. It was blood. Nanami's blood. Dark red blood dripped from the wrist where her hand had been severed.
なんで助けてくれなかったの？鬼って最低。
I screamed my guts out. The world turned crimson. My anger, my sadness, and my shame were ripping my head apart. My thoughts were a chaotic mess. Without any rhyme or reason, I charged toward Shogun. I made to grab him within his hiding place in the shadows. But I didn't get the physical response I'd expected. I collapsed along with the wheelchair. I must have hurt my elbow. His pain was shooting through it. Grimacing, I searched for the person who should have been sitting in the wheelchair. At my feet, a head tumbled across the ground. Terrified, I slowly reached out my hand, and what I felt was extremely hard. Rather than a freshly severed head, it was very clearly a helmet. A pitch black helmet. What in the...
Das Spider.
Huh? Wait. Seriously? I thought maybe I messed up or something. Are you serious? No, that was... Yeah. I chose negative, neither, positive. That was what's supposed to happen, apparently. I don't know what the heck is going on anymore. Yep. I reached the end of the chapter, so I should stop here for now. Process all this. I really thought he was about to get the sword. I really did. Guess we're saving that for later. Well then. See you guys next time after this feature-length episode.